A woman came to me once with a story I have not forgotten. She left her marriage after 9 years and 8 months. She left because she had to. The marriage was not safe. 4 months short of 10 years. 4 months short of being eligible for spousal benefits on her husband's record. The law has no exception for that. It does not ask why the marriage ended. It only counts the calendar. I think about her every time I talk about this topic, because her situation shows something important. Millions of people are leaving money on the table with Social Security spousal benefits. Not because they are not entitled to it, but because nobody explained how it actually works. Today, I am going to fix that. What spousal benefits actually pay. The rule the SAW applies automatically that most people do not know exists, and the mistake that has cost people tens of thousands of dollars. A mistake I hear about constantly. This is the Daniel Cross Report. I'm Daniel Cross. Let's get into it. Let's start with the foundation, and let's clear up the single biggest misunderstanding I encounter. If you are married, you may be entitled to a spousal benefit based on your spouse's earnings record, up to 50% of their full retirement age benefit. Here is what people get wrong constantly. This is not your benefit plus 50% of theirs. It does not stack. The SAW compares your own benefit to the spousal benefit and pays you whichever is higher, not both combined. If your own benefit is $900 a month and 50% of your spouse's benefit is $1,600, you receive $1,600, not $2,500. The SAW effectively tops you up to the higher number, nothing more. I know that is not what people want to hear, but knowing this now, before you plan around it, matters more than finding out after. Now, the rule that almost nobody knows exists until it affects them. It is called deemed filing. Here is the scenario. You are married. You have your own work record and your own benefit. Your spouse also has a benefit, and yours is smaller than half of theirs. You are considering filing before your full retirement age. Most people assume they get to choose. File on their own record first, let it grow, and switch to the spousal benefit later. That strategy does not exist anymore for most people. It was closed years ago. Under deemed filing, if you file for your own benefit before your full retirement age, the SAW automatically deems you to be filing for the spousal benefit at the same time. If your spouse has already filed, you do not get to pick one now and switch later. The SAW files both applications simultaneously and pays you the higher one, immediately reduced for early claiming. This is not something you are asked about. It is not optional. It happens automatically the moment you file early. The only way around deemed filing is to wait until your own full retirement age. At that point, and only if you were born before January 2nd, 1954. A narrow group that is aging out. A restricted application strategy still exists. For almost everyone watching this today, that door is closed. What this means practically, if part of your plan involves filing on your own record early and switching to spousal later, that plan will not work the way you think. The SAW does not give you that choice. The second mistake. And this one has cost real people real money. Waiting until 70 to file for spousal benefits. Your own Social Security benefit grows 8% per year for every year you delay past full retirement age, up to age 70. That is real, and it is valuable. The spousal benefit does not work that way. It caps at 50% of your spouse's full retirement age benefit, and that cap is reached at your own full retirement age. 67 for most people watching this. Waiting past 67 adds nothing to the spousal benefit. Nothing. I have heard from people who were told by an SI representative to wait until 70 to maximize their spousal benefit. They waited. They gained $0 additional dollars for those 3 years and lost 3 years of payments they were already entitled to. If spousal benefits are what you are filing for, your number is locked in at your full retirement age. There is no financial reason to wait past that point. Now, the situation that catches people the hardest, because it only becomes real after it is too late to plan for it. What happens to the spousal benefit when your spouse passes away? This is where I hear some of the most painful stories. A husband worked his entire life, paid into Social Security for decades, and when he passed away, his wife's monthly check increased by only $37. That number sounds wrong. It is not a mistake. It is the result of exactly how survivor benefits are calculated, and almost no one understands this going in. When a spouse dies, the survivor benefit is based on what that spouse was actually receiving, not their full, uncompounded benefit. If your spouse claimed early and took a reduction, the survivor benefit inherits that reduction. And if you also claimed your own benefit early, your survivor benefit is calculated against your own reduced base as well. 2 early claiming decisions. Yours and your spouse's. Both work against the survivor benefit at the exact moment you need it the most. This is why the claiming age decision for the higher earner in a marriage is not just about their own retirement. It directly determines what the surviving spouse lives on. Delaying the higher earner's claim, even partially, can mean hundreds of dollars more a month for a surviving spouse decades from now. Nobody explains this connection at the point of filing. You find out when it is already decided. Now let's talk about 3 situations that come up constantly, because your circumstances change what matters most. If you spent years as a stay-at-home spouse with little or no work history of your own, your entire retirement security may rest on the spousal and survivor benefit rules we just covered. For you, the claiming age decision your spouse makes is arguably more important than any decision you make yourself. That conversation needs to happen before either of you files anything. If there is a significant age gap between you and your spouse, the math shifts. A younger spouse cannot claim a spousal benefit before age 62, regardless of the older spouse's filing status. And a younger spouse who claims early locks in a steep reduction that compounds for potentially decades longer than a same-age couple would experience. Age gap couples need to run these numbers with extra care. If you are receiving Social Security Disability, SSDI, your disability benefit can potentially be topped up by a spousal benefit using the same rules we covered today. The SAY still pays whichever is higher. But the interaction between SDI and spousal benefits has its own filing requirements, and this is a conversation worth having directly with the SAY about your specific record. Here is what I want you to walk away with today. Spousal benefits do not stack with your own. Deemed filing removes the strategy of filing early and switching later. Waiting past your full retirement age adds nothing to a spousal benefit. And the survivor benefit, the one that matters most when it matters most, is shaped by claiming decisions made years, sometimes decades, before anyone needed to think about it. None of this is explained clearly at the point where you are making these decisions. That is what this report is for. If you are currently waiting for a spouse to reach 70, believing it will increase your spousal benefit, I want you to see this before that decision is finalized. And if you have already been through this and the numbers didn't add up the way you expected, tell me your story in the comments. It may be exactly what someone else needs to see before they file. This is the Daniel Cross Report. Subscribe if this gave you something the system did not explain. I'll see you in the next one.